Hi, this is Leigh. I'd like to welcome you to Alchemy Intuitive Tarot. I appreciate each and every one of you for joining me here today. And I would like to bless this reading by way of the Most High. So today is Synchronicity Saturday, and we're going to do a little reading about the Los Angeles fires and see if we can get any messages about the fires and what's going on with all of that. I'd like to welcome you to my channel. Thank you for new and returning subscribers. And if you haven't subscribed, please do so, or show some love through the like button, or make a comment, join the conversation, share the video, or just enjoy it. Okay, with that said, today we're going to start with a few different decks. Or actually, today we're going to be using these decks, either one or more of these decks. And so I think I'm going to start out with this one called Shadow Work Oracle. And I'll go ahead and pull a card or two. So the first card that's coming out is Distrust, Suspicion, Mistrust. So I think that's a pretty appropriate card coming out first out. There's a lot of people are mistrusting the way that these fires are being handled, although I must say that having been through a fire myself, having to evacuate and go through all that, I have every bit of respect for the firefighters and the first responders that come out, and the 911 dispatchers, all those people, and all the people that are just everyday citizens, have gone out of their typical day to, help others by housing people, etc. I myself had to evacuate and leave my home for several days. Thankfully, I didn't lose my house, but my family home was lost. And that brings up the next card, which is Insecurity. So, of course, there's a lot of insecurity going on right now. I mean, people have lost their homes. The fire is not contained. I think the last I heard it was at 20%, but that was a day or two ago. And so there's a lot of insecurity. People's insurance policies were canceled. A lot of suspicious things have happened. There's no water in the fire hydrants. LA is in a desert, and there's no reason why there shouldn't be ample water. LA is 1 million people, and it's spread across a very large area. So when I say LA, I'm encompassing all of the separate fires. The fires in Pasadena, Hollywood Hills, Palisades, Malibu, Runyon Canyon, none of those places are next door to each other, and there's more fires now. So this loss of life and loss of home for people who had housing or people who were living on the margins, they also have had to take their stuff and go, or if the fire was close enough, they ran. And I know what that's like. Okay. The next card up is apathy. And I think people are feeling some level of apathy right now because we haven't had any meaningful situation that is helping people out. And I think there's a lot of apathy towards the government, towards, for example, the mayor of Los Angeles, who was missing during the first part of the fire. And then when she was questioned, she had apathy. She had nothing to say. I mean, maybe it wasn't apathy. Maybe it was the next card, neglect. I mean, it seems like there's been a lot of neglect, and this could be historical neglect due to funding. California's overburdened by the amount of people in the last 4 years, 4 to 8 years that have been coming into the country unchecked. You know, it's been a mess. Yeah. And it feels like there's a lot of deceit going on. I mean, that I believe is what people feel. I mean, keep in mind, these fires in Los Angeles are not the first fires in California. This has been going on for many years. And there seems to be a pattern, which I talk about on my other channel, of fires occurring in expensive communities, occurring on high-priced or high-valued land. And fortunately and unfortunately, the loss of life, the loss of animals, the loss of belongings and memories and iconic locations and homes and just your life's belongings is creating grief. And we know that many people, you know, in these exclusive communities may have other homes to go to, but that does not mean that they are not without grief. They may have had many important items. We forget that when somebody has to take themselves and run, they often forget things. I know of somebody who, you know, forgot to take money, actual cash money that they had, and it burned up in the fire of their home, and it was a lot of money. They'll never get that money back. So it's a big mess. And of course, our government is full of pride. They're very prideful. You know, they're out there talking about the Olympics. They're talking about smart cities, and they should be focusing on the loss of life, housing, what happened to people's insurance cancellations. You know, what are they out there talking about? Why are they out there in a prideful manner? It's terrible. And of course, when you're in a situation like this, you become dependent. You lose your independence. You become dependent on people around you to live with them. You become dependent on perhaps government subsidy, disaster relief funds, maybe loans. A lot of people get disaster relief loans during this period of time. It's just a big mess. There's a lot of suppression of information. Were they trying to suppress maybe something they didn't want revealed? Or with these smart cities, that this will lead to the suppression of people's rights, because you're going to be watched, everything you do. Let's move on. Let's talk about, what's the tea? Right on the top of the deck is moving. I mean, that speaks for itself. I mean, it's horrible how many people have been displaced, how many businesses have been lost. And what's quite shocking, how many people are unbothered, not saying a word, not really digging into what has caused this. Was this a fire that was set intentionally? Was it set by arson? Now we know that up near Hidden Hills, there was somebody caught. Was that a legitimate situation, or was that one of those crafted narratives where things get really creative and kind of, this is where they can create a narrative through the news and run with it, and then many people will believe that narrative. But it's up to us to use our discernment, our third eye, to really understand what's going on and look at all the different pieces of information to make a decision. And of course, you're going to have those people jumping out who want to be noticed during a time of crisis. We remember the fires in Hawaii, which also, by the way, is going to be rebuilt into a smart city. And at that time, people were called out for fake flexing. They're trying to get money, which may have been legitimate, and it may not have been legitimate. But for a lot of people that were doing that, that spoiled their reputation in many ways. And right now, there's a lot of scarcity tactics that occur during a fire. I mean, my own experience is that many people lost homes. My family lost a home. Our friends, many friends lost homes. Our children were out of school. It was a really bad situation. People didn't have money the way they had it before because their house was burned down. They didn't have shelter the way they had it before. They had to rely. And there's lots of photo proof of what happened in the fire in Los Angeles. You know, citizen journalists, as well as the media. And this also occurred in my town. And, you know, some people are ignoring the bigger picture, which is what the heck is going on with all of these fires. I've lived here since the 70s, and there has never been this many fires. It's only been in the last, say, 10 years. And so, yeah, it's not a good situation. And I'm sure this video is going to get canned, like many of my other videos get canned, get shadow banned, because this kind of talk is you know, people don't want this type of talk to be discussed. And the people that get promoted just are the ones that are, you know, putting their makeup on, they're dancing, which I love all that stuff, by the way. But when you're talking about serious stuff, and you're not just fishing for comments, then, you know, those channels tend to get shadow banned, and sometimes people get cyberbullied. Anyways, there are people that will benefit from the fires. You know, these are the organizations that help people in need, the nonprofits, people that work for nonprofits, FEMA, those types of organizations, they benefit. And the biggest thing about being in a situation like this is it does make you reflect on your life, make you think, you know, what is important in life? Is it money? You know, is it that new dress I got, that designer purse? I mean, we all love nice things, but when you lose things and all you have is clothes on your back, a few of your important papers, and the money in the bank, you really tend to look at life differently. And some people are experiencing this. Maybe many people had a lot of money in their homes. You know, maybe that was their wealth. And now, with the cancellation of the insurance policies, people are going to lose their wealth unless the new administration comes out and does something concrete to help these people. You know, the other thing is, what is very odd about these fires is the cars and the metal. These fires are so hot that metal literally melts. But what's odd about it is the trees and maybe the garden right next to the car, not far away, is still intact. It's really strange. The metal melts. Heat, in terms of degrees that this metal melts, is very hot. And of course, people are going to have to sue. They're going to have to sue to get their money back, to get their house rebuilt. It's really just crazy. They're going to have to travel to be with other people, to live with other people, potentially. Or many people are being housed in these makeshift housing developments. I understand that near Malibu, there's a camp for people who have lost their homes. And they're moving on. They're figuring out how are they going to move on with this new set of circumstances. And many of these people that lived in these homes, of course, had not a care to think about. I mean, I'm not saying nobody has problems, but many people were established financially. It's an opportunity for many thieves to come out. That's why they block off the streets. They don't want looting. They don't want people from neighboring places to come over and loot the homes that are still standing. And of course, you know, people are going to be in their ego. They've lost their house in Malibu, or they've lost their house in Pasadena or Hollywood. I mean, these are some very cool homes. The Palisades, beautiful. You know, the ocean is right there. Some people in the conspiracy world think that maybe there was some karmic stuff going on. And from a spiritual standpoint, I think that there was. Los Angeles has had a lot of history, and there's been a lot of crazy things going on in all the neighborhoods, not just these neighborhoods. Los Angeles is highly haunted. I used to live there, not right in LA, but I went to high school. So who did this? Was this on purpose? I believe it's karmic, and I believe that it was done purposefully. But that's just my opinion. This is for entertainment purposes only. But this was criminal, what happened. And there's clearly a wolf in sheep's clothing, whether it be a person, people, organization, whatever, that lit the fires, or if it was lit by God, the wind. There is still karma depending on who or how this happened. There's a cleansing that happened. And that doesn't mean that everybody who was displaced is a karmic. Los Angeles has a long and deep history. Some of it's fascinating, you know, the stories about starlets and this and that, and Hollywood and movies and how Los Angeles started. And then some of the stories are dark. And we've all heard those stories about, the things that went on in LA, the tunnels and the young people and even other people. We've all heard the dark history of Los Angeles. It's real, and there's a lot of it, and you can feel it when you go into Los Angeles, especially lately, especially the last few years. It's been getting darker and darker. But I think there is a big dose of bad karma happening in Los Angeles. And I'm not saying that everybody, as I said, is a part of that, but the next card up is child services. So I don't know what to say. An offer, a dirty offer. The inside scoop. So, these are just speculations, of course. So, of course, many people are going to go bankrupt. Who knows? I mean, if this keeps burning, insurance companies could go bankrupt because not everybody got their policy canceled. And the fires have already been really impacting the insurance companies. And that is probably one of the reasons why they canceled these people. I'm going to give some goddess energy before I end this video for Los Angeles. My heart goes out to everyone, including all the animals and pets. Do what you can to help. Take somebody in. I know that we took somebody into our house whose home burned. The goddesses are asking us to be strong. Strength. No, this is going to really require people to gather their strength. Many people have done this. I know it did for us. And self-exploration. These types of significant events cause people to have to turn inward and really use their own fortitude to be patient with the process, because so many people have been affected by these fires that it's going to take time for all these services to get out to people, for the fires to get out, for them to be contained, and of course, acceptance. What do we do now? Where do we go from here? New beginnings are required, are not a choice. People are going to have new beginnings. These people, many have been set. They had their beautiful home, their life was set, and now it's gone. So they're forced into these new beginnings. It could be time to reassess. What is your life purpose? these new beginnings, it kind of forces us into a big time out to look at how we've been living our life and, you know, get out of the material world and start looking at our inner world, our intuition, and let go. Unfortunately, it requires a lot of letting go of your homes, letting go of the places. I know I'm so sad about this whole thing. I mean, so many places that I've been down there that have burnt down, and it's shocking. Letting go of a prior life that one knew, letting go of these iconic historical places in Los Angeles, letting go of not the memories, but not hanging on to the memories and the materialism as tightly. Letting go and looking in with direction. And the land is, at least for the time, being called back to nature. And this is also saying go out into nature and reassess your life. Where are you going? What do you need? Gather some insight on what to do. Listen to the raven. And of course, my suggestion is to watch my spiritual channel, my tarot channel, and gain some spiritual insight that might help you along your way. And with that said, I wish you all well, especially please pray for those individuals in Los Angeles for their health, happiness, recovery, for their money. Help in whatever way you can. Peace, love.